What's up everybody and welcome to the TheProtoArt. So I was going to do a very quick tutorial and kind of break down what all this mess is here. So the basic premise is taking any old marker brand, well, a majority of marker brands I should say. The example I'm going to be using is a Touch New marker. I've also tried this on a Hoo marker. I'm probably slaughtering that name. Sorry about that. And gonna be replacing the end with a copic brush nib. So the problem with a lot of markers that you find is they don't come with the brush nib. Most of them come with this bullet nib. Just a little closer for you. And those are fine. However, you don't kind of get the control that you do with the brush nib. So I experimented a few times. That's what all this little mess is here. And through trial and error, found a little way to replace a standard nib. So here's the experiment I did with one of the Hoo markers, just a plain old black color. Normally it would come with a bullet nib. Now this has the copic brush. I can kind of get the variety and thickness and line variation that I would love with the brush nib. I tried that too with a few other markers. They ended up kind of looking like a scene out of Toy Story with Sid experimenting with toys. So this was a old bullet nib I put on the copic. This was a Touch New marker. The skin tone, as you can see, the end caps are completely different. This was the whole base and cap and brush were from a copic, and the bottom half and the ink cartridge were from a Touch New. Now the problem with that is the Touch New markers are slightly more rounded than the copic. Copics are a little bit more narrow, so it didn't just fit snug. I did have to use some little plumber's tape in the inside to kind of fill in that gap. Anyway, it's a long-winded explanation. So let's dive into this. So what I want to do here is take this Touch New skin tone marker and replace the bullet nib. So you're going to need a few tools. Tools that you're going to need, I would recommend, is a copic little pair of tweezers here. They're made specifically to remove nibs. They kind of have this little tooth-looking end tip. Gonna need a pair of pliers or channel locks. You will need to use some power tools. So this isn't for kids. This is definitely for young adults or people who are into a lot of crafts. But I'm gonna use a Milwaukee brand impact drill, as well as a few little bits to kind of hollow out the core here. Few little drill bits. Alright, so first what we want to do is remove the nib. So take the cap off. Wrong end. Take the cap off the right end. With the bullet nib in hand and your pair of tweezers, you're going to remove the nib. Just a light amount of pressure and pull, and it should come right out. So now, sorry, I'm a little out of focus. Using a pair of pliers, or channel locks, or whatever you may have on hand, you're going to lightly press against the marker base. So some are built intact, like on the opposite end here, you can see there's no additional line. I can't remove this end cap. It's all built into one piece. However, on the bullet nib side, it's a whole separate piece. So that's why I'm able to take that off. But anyway, with your pliers, you're going to lightly pinch down. I'm kind of aiming for the little white area there, so it's going to make the plastic kind of bow out and give me enough space to pull the end cap off. There you go, cap's off. And now I can leave that in there, but you can see the ink cartridge. So the problem with this is the nibs that come with copics are too wide to fit in that hole, so we have to hollow at the hole. That's the whole reason I had the little drill bits and stuff. So I'm gonna load that into my drill. So I would recommend you use pliers or something so you don't stab yourself in the hand or something crazy. And we're just gonna use it barely to hold that in place. And then with my drill, I'm gonna hollow this out a little bit. So it's gonna be a little loud, so I apologize. Alright, so that hollowed it out a little bit, but we want to go a little further. So that's why I'm gradually building up the sizes of the drill bits. Sorry, I'm trying to focus the camera while using a power tool. Not the safest thing to be doing right now. Alright, here we go. So we're gonna hollowing this out a little bit more. Alright, looks pretty good. And you'll know if it's the correct size as your nib should now be able to fit inside there. Let's see, where did I put that thing? Oh no, I lost my nib. No. Pause 1 second here. Okay, technical difficulty. 1, the camera died. 2, I couldn't find the nib. But yes, so now with the nib in hand, clear out this work desk. You can see now it kind of fits a little better. It still takes a little bit of effort, so I'm going to try to hollow that out slightly more. And once I have that hollowed out, I'm going to end up pushing it through the bottom from the inside of the cap to the front. So I'm going to pause here because this isn't exciting to watch, or I might speed through it. So fast forward, here we go. Okay, so from here, now I have it hollow enough where I can fit the nib in through the front. That's exactly what we wanted to see. So now I'm going to flip this cap over, and from the inside, the brush nib facing down, dropping in the cap. I'm going to use the end. You can really use anything. I'm just kind of poking through the end there, so you start seeing it poke through. There we go. That's exactly what we wanted to see there. So now I'm kind of helping guide the little brush through the end. Sorry, trying to get my hands out of the way here. Without flattening that too much. You want to be careful because you don't want to damage the end of this brush nib either. But I think we are just about where we want to be here. That looks pretty good to me. It's in there snug, it's not coming out. There's enough of it poking through where the ink cartridge itself will touch. And this might take a little minute for the ink to flow to the tip, so I'm not going to bore you guys to death with that. So now all you need to do is pop your brand new marker with the Copic brush tip back in there. So this is once again a touch marker with a Copic brush tip. Pop that back in place, and this can take a few minutes for the ink to soak into the nib. It's like a little sponge, and you'll see the ink gradually flow to the very tip. So I'm not going to bore you guys to death. I'll see you in a moment when this is all done. And through the magic of editing, now my touch new marker, as you can see, went from white at the tip to having this ink soaking in it. Now I have my skin tone marker ready to use. And this could be done with anything. So I had bought, instead of spending, you know, upwards of like $300-400 on a pack of Copics, I keep plugging this brand, even though they don't sponsor me anything. This Ahoo brand, like 70 something markers for a fraction of the price of like Copics. So these I think cost like closer to like $50 for like 70 markers, or maybe it was $70. I have to double check. Either way, it's less than $300 than what you would pay for Copics for like half of that amount. But I have all these markers now. Let me zoom out. But yeah, I have all these markers now, and then the brush nibs you can buy on like Amazon or, like I said, an art store, and I think it was like a 3-pack for, I want to say maybe $2 or something like that. So I would love to gradually go through all these and swap them all out with Copic brush tips, because I love the brush tips. They work amazing. It does take a little bit of effort, as you see, but you can end up with some brand new markers with some really cool brush nibs. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe, and keep an eye out for more videos, because I try to post. I've been very infrequent with that, so I apologize, but I'll try to have more art videos, tutorials like this, A lot of crafty things because I do love wood carving and sculpting and stuff. So I might have some tutorials and videos on that as well. But anyway, talk to you guys soon. Peace.